Hello and welcome to the Apex Racing League British GT Championship live on Apex Racing TV. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick, and once again alongside me in the commentary box this evening is Ryan Walker with Marco Barbanera on the cameras. We're here at the beautiful Snetterton circuit in the crown jewel of the UK, that is Norfolk, obviously. And we are just preparing for this meeting 4 of the season. And what a season it has been so far, Ryan. I mean, this GT3 Porsche combination, it's worked very well. And this Snetterton circuit are quite different to the circuits we've visited so far in Alton Park, Brands Hatch and Silverstone. It's narrow around this place, but at the same time, it's very flat, very kind of modern. And it's a circuit that not everyone enjoys, but some do. Yeah, what were your thoughts on this round 4 of the championship?
Yeah, I'm quite looking forward to this round this evening here at Snetterton. I think tonight in the GT3s on the Porsche Cup, Porsche Cup class as well. It should be quite an interesting round. And also, yeah, I've done some races around here in the Fussell series and also in other leagues. The other leagues like the BSR MX5s. Yeah, I think I took my first one around here in the BSR
I
MX5 one.
remember that. I was commentating on it, and it was
Oh
a
yeah, sweet.
superb win. It was really close, I think, across the line, wasn't it? You just about held on. Sorry for interrupting, Ryan.
That's okay.
I
yeah,
had to back you up there. Ryan did absolutely win a superb race round here.
yeah. I think it was from my memory. I think it was between it was close between me, Amor Smith, Adam McNally, and Kip Stevens. I think so. Yeah. Good times. Good times racing around here, and one of those tracks that I always love racing around. And but for nostalgia's sake, I prefer the old layout around here that the raced a few years ago. But I still like the Snetterton 300 layout, and it's probably one of my favourite tracks when it comes to like new versions of tracks being made on iRacing.
Absolutely. This circuit only being released 2 years ago, I believe. We're coming up to the 2-year anniversary, of course, in just less than a week's time, couple of days' time. Barcelona will be released, along with all the Season 4 editions as well, including the TCR car. Certainly keep your eyes peeled on Apex Racing TV on Thursday nights. We'll be hosting the Apex Racing League Touring Car Championship in the TCR car. Of course, if you want any details on that, check out the Apex Racing TV Facebook page for sign-up details. The drivers are currently in qualifying, and we got 1.5 more minutes to go. The drivers can set 4 laps in this 10-minute session, and then we have a 20-minute first race. Then we randomly reverse the grid for race 2, which is 40 minutes in length. Both races worth the same amount of points. And so, yeah, you really do need 2 good finishes. And so far this season, the driver in the championship, in the GT3 championship at least, who has been getting a lot of strong finishes, is Tom McMahon. He's won the last 3 rounds of this championship, 2 reverse grid rounds as well, which is quite remarkable how strong he has been. Andrew Brown, his teammate, is running in second place, but a long way adrift. Gregory Ranks is in third, with Lewis Bibby and Michael Dreschler rounding out the top 5, but there are lots of other good drivers. Jackie Lotzman, who unfortunately I don't believe is here today. Also, Martin van Loosenhoort as well. He's already run one around so far this season. He's had a little bit of a tricky season, but he is extremely quick as well. In the Porsche Cup Championship, we got Nick Madsen still leading the way. He has been in a titanic championship battle with Brendan Crone. Those guys separated by barely any points. Taj Edwards is in third place. Nice battle for third place, actually, between Taj Edwards, Harold Stadler, Sam Kume, and Austin Havias. So keep an eye out on that. Lots of competitive Porsche drivers, and we got 9 of them around today. It's kind of turned into a very good league series this in the Porsches, because it is difficult to find league sessions in this car, and yet these guys are really sticking with it. So if anyone's watching this back, certainly do appreciate you guys sticking with the car. And well, the drivers have now completed their lap times, and qualifying is complete. So we can go through the starting grid for what will be round 7 of the championship. Race 1 here at Snetterton. And it's Lewis Bibby on pole position by 1/10 of a second. Can he get his first win of this season? He starts ahead of Tom McMahon, with Martin van Loosenholt starting in third place. There's Andrew Brown, Ole Christian Unberg, a qualifying for him, Jack Nola, Chris Wood, Jesper Lind, Ben Gregory, Ben Galite, Martin Teelgard, Rafe Cullinan, Gregory Ranks, Stuart Musselwhite, John Roberts, Scott Malcolm, Kip Stevens, Carl Hardy, and James Leggett rounding it out the top 19. Robert Lundgren and Dean Timms. Hopefully they'll take the start. I know Rob isn't. He lets us know. Hopefully Dean Timms will take the start though. In the Porsches, Brendan Cronin is on pole position ahead of Nick Madsen. So close between those two as always. Austin Hervase starts in third place with Taj Edwards and Hal Stadler forming the next row of the grid. Behind that, it's Tor Bourbon, Ronald Moons, Steve Clays, and Sam Kumo rounding out the field. So Ryan, not a very long formation lap here, thankfully, of course. But I guess it's going to be difficult to overtake around this place. We usually see that's the case, and it's so narrow, it's difficult to make a move. So Bibby starting from pole position could be quite an advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. The first sector around Snetterton, it's probably one of the most difficult sectors to on any track to overtake on, just because you're close, you're right behind someone, but it's basically unless you get a good run on someone and try and make him right behind someone or try and get a good run on the exit of a corner, it's basically difficult most of the time to make a move. But I think it could be, yeah, if people act sensible and just do their own, yeah, basically acts or race sensible, I should say, we could be in for a good race.
Yes, we certainly hope to see that. So, of course, if these drivers do have any incidents, they will be reviewed by myself, and I am not generous with penalties. So that's a word of warning to the drivers. I've seen a few penalties, but it's not been too bad. And of course, if they run off the circuit last time, every 10 incidents you get 3 penalty points. Just for reference, a win is worth 40 points, so it is quite significant. We have seen the championship quite important so far. That factor has been this meeting 4 of this British GT Championship hosted by Apex Racing League. And it is Lewis Bibby and Tom McMahon, the two Evo SR drivers, starting on pole position. And away we go. The green flag is waving. And it's a terrific start for Lewis Bibby ahead of Tom McMahon. Already Lind gets him past Wood. That's for 7th place. A little bit of side-by-side maybe with Unberg trying to go down the inside of Brown. Lind still fighting away actually with Wood, who's managed to get back past. In the lead of the Porsches, it is still Brendan Cronin leading the way ahead of Nick Madsen, who's having to go a little bit defensive going into turn 1 against one of the geodetic cars behind of Austin Hervase, but they've stayed in line already in single file, and no changes so far. A little bit side-by-side further down, but that is really good going from those drivers. Hopefully that will stay up. And really, no changes in the top 13 in the GT3 field at all either. So we were maybe thinking some incidents could happen at the turn 2 hairpin. Montreal, of course, but really no changes, and that's what Lewis Bibby would have wanted because he's away well and he can start getting into a rhythm now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just looking throughout the field, and there's no issues on lap one so far. Everyone's been sensible, as you say, Sam, and yeah, it's basically still the line astern at the moment, and yeah, still in the lead of the GT3s on lap. We're halfway round lap one is Lewis Bibby from his teammate Tom McMahon. So, oh, Bibby's around.
Off the circuits, and he nearly hits the wall as well on the inside. The race leader has made a critical mistake there, and Lewis Bibby might even pick up a slowdown as well for his troubles. I don't think that would be particularly necessary, but he might pick still one up. And off the circuit goes Jesper Lind, and he's off into, well, Suffolk there. I know I've made that joke on a previous broadcast before, but it never gets old. Lind gets back onto the circuit, and well, he's lost a few places. He's down 6 places, and like I said, there was no changes and a couple of big mistakes. Undoubtedly, Lind was put off by Bibby when he came back onto the circuit. Not saying that Bibby did anything wrong, but got on the grass way too liberal there on the grass. And well, he did well not to, in the end, hit the wall. He could be strong for the reverse grid, undoubtedly. That's what happened to Lind, and I think he just got his eyes yeah, he got totally put off there, I think, did Jesper Lind. He was thinking, well, I'm catching up to this guy, I need to take a wide line. Dipped a wheel onto the grass. And like I said, off near King's Lynn instead round that part of the circuit. And very disappointing for those two guys. And it means Tom McMahon is now leading the way 1 second ahead of Martin Melisno. Now, could McMahon really get his 4th consecutive win in this series? We had 4 different winners in the first 4 races of this championship. But since then, McMahon has really taken a strong hold of it, and he's leading the way well. Madsen right on the tail at the moment of Brendan Cronin having to stay behind. And these two once again dueling away as we've seen all season.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Looks like just watched the replay again, and it looked like Bibby just ran wide and kept his foot on it away when he went in the grass, and then went over the bump and just unfortunately lost the car. And he was so close to hitting that wall, but managed to keep out and managed to get going again. But yeah, he's lost some time in some places, and it's allowed his teammate Tom McMahon into the lead. And I have to say, at the moment, when it comes to form, Tom is a man in form.
Yes, he knows exactly how to manage this circuit. And here he goes. Lewis Bibby now trying to get up through the field. Of course, Tom McMahon's teammate. And that should be simple enough for him down into turn one. Not too much defense put up by Jack Nola. Oh, off the circuit though it goes, Bibby. And, well, I was certainly counting my chickens. And there are quite a few around these
Oh,
parts, of course.
contact!
And the Team Vikings car around as well. That was Tealgard. And somehow he's only lost a couple of places in all of that as Martin Tealgard stays ahead of Jesper Lind, who had that issue earlier on. Maybe a little bit of damage on that car. This is what happened to Bibby then. I thought he was easily through. It was
Yeah,
anything but into turn one.
yeah. Just looking to see what happened. And it looks like Bibby just might have just carried too much speed into turn one, and looking at another car as well, Jess Bowland. Oh, as we look at Martin Tealgard, and it'll be interesting to see what happened to Martin. I'm not sure if he ran wide and just clipped the grass, or just if he got tagged. But as we look at the replay to see what happened to him, and yeah, heads into turn one, and it looks like he took the inside curb and just unsettled the car, and luckily, as you say, Sam, luckily he managed to keep going, and just with some minor damage on the front right.
Yeah, good effort there to avoid the oncoming cars. Here comes Ben Gregory. He's straight past. For Fitstone Motorsport, takes sense Fitstone Motorsport. He's up into 6th place now, so up 3 places for Gregory. He's had a few good top 10 finishes so far this season, a couple of crashes as well, but he is one of the front runners in the championship and certainly looking maybe for even the runners-up spot in this season's championship. Certainly looking very strong for McMahon currently. These drivers do get one drop round though, out to the first 5 rounds of the championship. The last round does count. It makes it a little bit easier for us commentators to calculate the points when the last round can't be dropped. So that's the reason for that. And also we like a good spectacle. We like to see it go down to the last race of the season. No doubt it's going to go to the last race of the season between these two. Like I keep on saying, Cronin and Madsen ever so close. Herveus, to be fair, is still within 2 seconds of these guys as well. Taj Edwards, relatively close. Hal Stadler getting a little bit to tap. You know how good Stadler is from the Euro V8 Supercar Series, which of course will be back on Apex Racing TV next Saturday. But just getting a little bit detached as Porsche car ever so difficult. But Madsen, so far, we just haven't seen him really get anywhere close to passing the race leader. And I mean, this is just the difficulty you have around this circuit. It's difficult to really form an overtake.
Yeah, it just seems to be. It seems to be at the moment. Basically, the field is so close at the moment. It's making it hard to. It's making it hard to make an overtake or make a move, and yeah, just because everyone's still close together in the slipstream, it's making it. It makes it more difficult to make a move. But yeah, the best that some of these guys can vote for is someone's sideways in the corner there, and there's a BMW off as well. That's
Unberg.
uh, that was a Unenberg and Galite.
Yeah, Galite with a quite a significant off day. He's back where he started as Ben Galite, so it's not all doom and gloom for him, although he still seems to be going a little bit slow in the car number 71, now back up to racing speed. And Uneberg then lost a place to Nola, so he was running in 4th place was Uneberg, not anymore. So yeah, disappointment for him. Maybe an outside chance for a podium was possible. Bibby, of course, up into 8th place due to that mistake from Galites. Also, ranks gains 1 place up into 9th. He's up 4 places from his start. Van Nistelrooy, though, in the Ferrari, we saw him on Wednesday on Apex Racing TV in the Sim Racers World GT Championship. Of course, the rest of those races will be covered on the iRacing Esports Network, so certainly do subscribe to the iRacing Esports Network because we broadcast quite regularly on a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night, and maybe even a Thursday night as well in the future, so certainly do check that channel out. But Van Loo's not ever so strong, picking the Ferrari, which ought to maybe not be the fastest car around here. He's certainly doing well at the moment. John Roberts off the circuit. He was having a really good run, was Roberts. He's down into 15th place now, though. He was running in 12th. But yes, he's now down to 16th place, trying to come back at Kip Stevens as another gyro off the circuit. It's Gregory Franks. I was just praising him there, but he's lost a place to Bengalite.
Yeah, absolutely. As we look at this battle between Lewis Bibby and Chris Wood. And Chris Wood tries to make a move, but he can't get it done and has to slip in behind. As we look back behind them, is Gregory Varanks and Bengali battling for position as well. And we look at a replay of John Roberts from Boosted Motorsport, who unfortunately got tagged from behind and got demoted some positions.
Yes, just a small tap there. Certainly wasn't deliberate from Rick Cullinan, I believe it was, from the gyro behind. And just tapping him round, and very disappointing there. It's a terrific queue of cards. By the way, the gyro with the Grip TV livery, that is Andrew Brown. I'm not sure who Grip TV are. If they're an Apex Racing TV rival, it's safe to say Andrew Brown might be getting some penalty points. But hopefully... Oh, Ben Gregory off the circuit. And again, I was praising him earlier on, but he's a long way off, and now Kip Stevens slowing and out of the race as well. I don't believe those two were anywhere near each other on circuit, but so far, in the first, 10 minutes of this race, we have seen a lot of incidents.
Yeah, this seems to be. Yeah, some people are maybe trying too hard now as they look at a replay of Ben Gregory. He just got in the power and the rear wheels just spun up and unfortunately he spun and nuzzed the wall. But he's managed to get going again as they look back through the field at looking at a replay of Kip Stevens and he just got sideways in turn one and just nuzzed the wall as well. So yeah, some people making mistakes halfway through this race.
Did Sam Kumo make a mistake? No. Of course Sam Kumo doesn't make mistakes. Classic Finnish driver. Only about 100 of them actually on iRacing. And Sam is one of them. I believe he's representing Finland. Of course, lives in Germany now. But anyway, Tom McMahon still leading the way. It's 0.3 of a second ahead of Martin van Liesnoord. He's just been easing that pressure on as this race has developed. And there's a lot of space in front of Tom McMahon. No worries about traffic, seemingly. They shouldn't catch up to anyone, seeing that this circuit is actually pretty long in length. And also the GT3s aren't that much faster than the Porsches around this track, just due to the slow speed corners, where the Porsche can keep up. It's the high speed corners where tends the GT3s with their extra downforce pull away a little bit. But Van Liesnoord finding the same issue as we've seen Nick Madsen face so far today, where there's just not an obvious overtaking spot, but he is getting closer and closer.
Yeah, absolutely. As a ride on board with Tom McMahon, and Van Liesnoord's getting closer and closer. And I think if Martin can get a good run on the exit of one of these corners in the last sector, he might be able to make a move. But it seems to be that the Mercedes and the Ferrari seem to be evenly matched for straight line speed.
Yes, there doesn't seem to be an obvious advantage for the Ferrari. And this is the longest straight on the circuit, of course, and no impression at all being made by Martin van Liesnoord. And if we've learned anything from Tom McMahon from this season, he's maximises results. He really hasn't had a bad result. I think he may have finished every race on the podium so far this season, which you think we've had so many competitive drivers. And no offense to Tom, I don't think he's necessarily been the fastest driver a whole lot this season, but he always seems to find himself in the top three. James Leggett with an issue. Made his debut last week. I forgot to add him to the championship standings, but hopefully he'll score some points to make my efforts worthwhile. And, this race, he may struggle to score any points because he's had quite a significant off. Once again, that grass, it is slippery in Norfolk and spins the car around into the wall.
Yep, absolutely. Is he back up at the front as well, and McMahon's still under pressure from Van Loozenord, and it seems McMahon and Van Loozenord managed to pull away from the rest of the field behind and build up a bit of a gap as we look back through at the Porsche Cup class as well. Brendan Cronin still leading, and but closely followed by Nick Madsen, and it seems that Brendan and Nick has managed to pull away from Austin Havias behind them as well. So yeah, it looks like a two-way battle for the win.
Yeah, Havias must have made a bit of a mistake because he was not far behind. He was like a second and a half behind, and his lap time seemed to be relatively even. Well, on that last lap, he lost just over a second, so yeah, maybe that gap has just been slowly extending. Of course, we will have the reverse grid though for race 2, and in this Porsche category, the smallest it can be is 6. The largest it can be is, well, a full, obviously. And so, a great opportunity for any one of those drivers to perhaps spring a bit of a surprise. As Cronin still leads the way. That's lap 8 for these drivers. The race leader about to complete his lap 8. Certainly shouldn't be too much of an issue lapping these drivers. In race 2, we might see the GT2s lapping the Porsches once. Should be pretty much it. Side by side between Scott Malcolm. Good to see him out there as always. And he is currently battling Martin Thielgaard. He has had issues in this race so far. Hit the wall at turn 1 in the early stages, but Malcolm is Mr. Consistent usually, and I always say, I mean, great credit to Scott Malcolm because he sticks with this car in whatever series we seem to do on a Sunday night, and he's still doing pretty well for Team Mad, and hanging on against these chasing cars.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Scott Malcolm's one of those people that's been around for quite some time on iRacing. I think the only time I've really seen him race or seen him racing is on BSR as Martin Thielgaard goes for a move up the inside of Scott Malcolm, but Malcolm gets the cut back.
Thielgaard has the better line, and once you have the inside into this next corner, it's pretty much done. That was good respectful racing from the turd there. Malcolm gave a bit of space when he could have turned in and caused a collision. And Thielgaard brave, but just about did enough. So nice racing against those two. We'll see if Malcolm can perhaps respond in a bit. Phantom Sim Racing, Ben Galites. Like this could be a good result for Ben Gleick, but he has got 2 very quick drivers who have had spins already in this race. So Gregory Ranks and Jesper Lind just on his tail. As Ben Gregory gets past Scott Malcolm there. We just saw the end of that.
We'll look at a replay to see the move from Ben Gregory on Scott Malcolm, and it looks like Ben Gregory sent it up the inside. There's a bit of contact between the two, but Gregory managed to get by Malcolm, and next car in front of Gregory is Martin Thielgaard.
Yep, a Team Vikings car for him to overtake. Still, out in the lead, McMahon leading the way, but I don't know if it's any possible for Martin Van to get much closer than he is on the drive ahead, but he's desperately trying. I think he really needs the overtake sooner rather than later. We haven't got many more minutes in this race to go. And Lucenot, who's been marred by collisions so far this season. Remember, he won race 2. Yes, race 1 at Silverstone, he got a slowdown, ruined his chances. Race 2 at Silverstone, he won. Race 1 at Brands Hatch, he was leading and then got tapped around actually by the man he's following right now, Tom McMahon. And race 2 there as well, he got taken out by his own teammate. So it's been a frustrating season for Martin Van Liesner. He didn't have a great Alton Park round either, and he's changed cars twice, which means that he's got a lot of penalty points. So, I mean, come on, give this guy a break and let him win this race because he would dearly like it. They're catching up to Sam Kumo just up the road. This should be the only car they lap. And Kumo, being the fantastic driver he is, makes it a bit easier for them. Goes off the circuit to escort the lead battles way past.
Yep, as a look back behind Tom McMahon and Martin Van Loozenord, and it looks like Jack Noah and Lewis Bibby are battling for P4. As we've got just yeah, about 3 or 4 minutes left of this race, and yeah, it looks like Bobby's got the run on Nola, and it looks like he might be able to pick up P4 as the head down to turn one.
This is where he had the off earlier on, of course, when trying to get past Jack Nolan. I was very much saying how it would be an easy move for him, so I'm very hesitant to say the same. However, this time it has been much more simple. He's up into fourth place. Good recovery from Lewis Bibby after a couple of offs. Of course, could have well won this race, but fourth place will have to do, and he'll certainly be a one of the favourites for the reverse grid, seeing that he'll be starting ahead of these two front runners and Andrew Brown as well. Okay, so Andrew Brown running in third place. I haven't spoken about him too much, but Grip TV, as he nearly spins it round. He's just struggling for traction seemingly around this circuit. Not quite sure what the reason with that is, because they have got traction control after all.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it was a. Yeah, Brendan Cronin gets a bit sideways on the exit of the final corner as a. Yeah, Nick Madson's got the run on him, so I wonder if Nick will try and make the move. He tries to go up the inside. Can he get it done?
Very ambitious from Madsen. Almost contact between the two of them. Madsen down the inside, Cronin on the outside. Madsen will have the better run surely going into Montreal. Cronin with his car just ahead. Madsen's hesitant to brake too late, doesn't want to understeer into his rival. He finally does get the race lead though, does Nick Madsen. And it's a mistake from Brendan Cronin, which has yielded that race lead finally. A mistake coming out of the final corner, couldn't quite get the power down as he ran wide. And now it looks very strong for Nick Madsen to get another race victory and crucially extend his championship lead. Still Cronin feels as though he can battle the race leader, but his task has just been made much more difficult because they've only got 1.5 laps to go.
Yeah, that was a fantastic move by Nick. He managed to, yeah, basically managed to set that up from the exit of the final corner and get a run on the Brendan, and they heading down into turn two. He managed to just go up the inside, and they, yeah, he left just enough room for Brendan and managed to pull the move off, and yeah, but Brendan's not giving up that easy.
Yeah, managing to get Madsen slightly offline just by showing his nose. Goes to the inside as Cronin. He really wants this race win. You can definitely tell as the geodesic racing driver, but there's just not a way past. And once again, struggling with those rear tyres as he overheats them slightly as well. The timer is ticking down. In fact, we have got to 20 minutes in this race. And so, due to the person setting up this session absolutely fantastically, this will be the final race, final lap of the race. Still, Tom McMahon leading the way. He didn't get pole position, of course. He was on the front row of the grid alongside his teammate, who's not too far behind. You can see him halfway down the back straight. They now drive down. Maybe it could have been Lewis Bibby who took this race victory. Doesn't look like that is going to be the case as they catch up to the Porsche drivers of Moons and Bourbon, who are having a nice battle between one another. McMahon is going to try to get past the Team Vikings car. Van Loosenholt looking for any which way. He wants the race here to get slightly held up. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. Tom McMahon is going to approach the line. He's going to win his 4th race in a row for Evo SR. Brilliant performance from Tom McMahon. And he did not put a foot wrong under the most intense pressure. Andrew Brown rounds out the podium. Lewis Bibby finishes in 4th with Jack Nola in 5th. Ben Gregory's just got ahead of Stuart Musselwhite, by the way, on the last lap. That's for P13. But this is the most significant battle. Madsen versus Cronin, both of which have taken race victories so far this season. I believe Madsen 3 for him, Cronin 2. And the championship leader currently leading the way. And it looks very strong, Ryan, for him to win this race with Cronin just falling a little bit further behind.
Yeah, just watching Cronin, it looks like he's fallen back a little bit, but yeah, I think, yeah, all Nick has to do now is just not make any mistakes, just keep it on the track and just get around the final few corners, and he should, yeah, well, should have his win in the bag. But yeah, Brendan's not giving up. His head down into the final couple of corners, and yeah, it looks like Nick's managed to build up a little bit of a gap into the final corner, and he's going to come round and take the win in race one.
Another superb duel between these two. We've seen a few already this season, but this time, in this episode, it's going to be Nick Madsen who wins race 1 at Snetterton. And more good points for him, like I said. Not a big gap between those two in the championship, but Madsen does extend it. Austin Havias finishes in 3rd place, and that will help him in the championship. That will boost him potentially to 4th place in the championship. He's currently lies in 6th. He'll certainly get ahead of Sam Kumo. Might also get ahead of Harold Stadler as well. Close between Clays and Moons across the line. Clays falling behind. So Moon's getting past him on the last lap of that race. Clays with a bit of damage for Rev Match Racing Esports. And it will be Moons finishing in that place. And that could be important in the reverse grid because that is 6th place. So if we get a 6-car reverse, there'll be one of Moons on the pole position. So I believe all the drivers have now crossed the line. So we can go through the final results. And it's Tom McMahon who wins out half a second ahead of Martin Van Liesnod. Andrew Brown, good 3rd place for him with Lewis Bibby almost catching him up right at the end there. After a couple of us finishes in 4th. Jack Nola finishes in 5th with Ole Christian Uneberg behind him. Then it's Chris Wood, Ben Golight, Jesper Lind, Gregory Vranks, John Roberts, Rick Cullinan, Ben Gregory, Martin Thielgaard, Stuart Musselwhite, and Scott Malcolm, the retirees, with Kip Stevens, Carl Hardy, and James Leggett. In the Porsches, Nick Madsen wins out. Another important race victory for him, ahead of Brendan Cronin after a bit of a mistake from Cronin. Still a very good move in the end, executed by Nick Madsen. Austin Hervais finished on the podium. Then was Taj Edwards, Harold Stadler, Ronald Moons, Steve Clays, Tor Bourbon, and Sam Kumo rounding up those drivers. All of those Porsche drivers will be eligible for the reverse grid. All the GT3 drivers up to Kip Stevens will be eligible for the reverse grid as well. So, Marco, what reverse grid are we going to get in each of the classes?
That is a very good question. Hello, everyone. Hopefully, you are enjoying the show. And let's bring the reverse grid wheels on the screen. And sadly, for the final time in this iRacing season, but not for the final time in this championship, because of course, even during week 13, we will be on for the Spa-Francorchamps race. So don't miss that. So here we go. Let's roll them. Okay, so it's 13 for the GT3s and full -1 for the Porsches.
So, 13 will be Ben Gregory then on the pole position. So he just about recovered enough places to be on pole position for race 2. Rick Cullinan will be alongside him on the front row of the grid. And it was -1 in the Porsches, which means that Tor Bourbon will be on pole position. I believe he's already had a pole position so far this season. So he'll be on pole ahead of Steve Clays. Hopefully he'll be able to resolve his steering wheel issues. And then it'll be Ronald Moons and Hal Stadler forming the second row of the grid. We're
Well,
going to be
Sam,
back there. Oh, sorry.
so we cannot accuse the creator of the reverse wheel, Sam Kumo, of helping himself, given that
No.
his own creation let him down. So, but that means that it is all 100% clear and under the light of the sun.
Yeah, well, I wish that was the case, Marco. But, I mean, a lot of bribes have been dealt, safe to say. Anyway, if you want to see some more corrupt racing, certainly do join us back in about 20 minutes' time, maybe 25 minutes' time. Race 2 here in the British Championship.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Welcome back to the Apex Racing League British GT Championship live on Apex Racing TV. Once again, I'm Sam Fitzpatrick, and once again, alongside me is Brian Walker with Marco Barbier on the cameras, and we are prepping for this race 2 of the evening here at Snetterton. We applied a couple of reverse grids, 13 for the GT3s, and about 7 for the Porsches as well. And so on pole position for this race 2 is going to be Ben Gregory with Ray Carnan alongside him on the front row of the grid. There's John Roberts, Gregory Vranks, Jesper Lind, Ben Galites, Chris Wood, Ole Christian Unberg, Jack Nola, Lewis Bibby, Andrew Brown, Martin van Liesnod, and race 1 winner Tom McMahon. Behind that it's Martin Thielgaard, Stuart Musselwhite, Scott Malcolm, and James Leggett. In the Porsches, Tor Bourbon starts on pole position alongside Steve Plays. Behind that it's Ronald Means, Hal Stadler, Taj Edwards, Austin Havias, Brendan Cronin, Nick Madsen, and Sam Kuma rounding out the field. Ryan, we saw an entertaining race 1, difficult to overtake, but with this reverse grid, I think we're going to see a little bit more action.
Yeah, absolutely. Race 1 was absolutely fantastic to watch in both classes, and yeah, there was a battle for a win in both classes, going right down to the last lap. And yeah, I think we could be in for an exciting race 2 with the reverse grid, and yeah, just waiting for the safety car to pull off, and we should be underway with race 2 in a few moments' time.
Absolutely. Here we go then. Gregory hangs on for a while, much longer than we saw the race 1 pole sitter, but now he puts his foot down because the green flag is out. Maybe a little bit of contact as well down the field. Nick Cannon maintains second place. Lynn straight away past Franks. Another really good start for the Texan Fitstone Motorsport driver in the Mercedes, who's up into 4th, and he might even get up into 3rd as we see the Porsches now get away. Tor Bourbon still leading the way. Steve Plays second. Hal Stadler up a couple of places. Roloff Means unfortunately hasn't seemingly taken the start. He has connection to the session, but not gridding up quick enough seemingly. Still, Stadler holding on against those other drivers. But once again, relatively clean. Lind is up into 3rd place now, so terrific start for him. He's got past John Roberts.
Yeah, absolutely. It's yeah, it looks like everyone's settling down at the moment, and yeah, at the moment in the GT3s, it's Gregory from Cullinan, and yeah, Jesper Lund in 3rd. So yeah, it's a good start for the Fitstone Motorsport guys in the GT3s, and also yeah, Harold Sadler having a good start in the Porsche Cup class as well for Fitstone Motorsport. So is someone's off in the grass?
Yeah, Stuart Musselwhite's a little bit off. Monbees has now taken the start, and Musselwhite struggling quite a bit there. Not quite sure why he started so far back. He's starts from the pits. That won't be a penalty. Maybe just didn't quite join the session quick enough. There isn't much of a changeover time to be fair for these drivers to get in. It's down the inside. That was brave from the driver as round goes a sim race as well, Joe, and John Roberts as well. It's Gregory Vranks who did go off the circuit in race 1 as well, and they've both lost a lot of time in all of that. Vranks gets back onto the circuit, but he started up in 4th place. He's way down now. He was running in 5th, I believe, a long way down. Tor Bourbon, fantastic start for him. I kind of expected him to get a little bit swallowed up as Steve plays off the circuit, and I think he may well have steering wheel issues out there. We saw, we saw on the chat some issues for him in race 1, and that is very unusual to see that. It just didn't seem to turn for that bomb hole corner. So way off the circuit and loses that 2nd place. Carnan having to defend from Lind. This is great for Ben Gregory, who's 1.4 seconds out in the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Gregory's just slowly pulling away at the moment, and just yeah, trying to take every advantage he can get to try and build the gap as we look back at the Porsche Cup class with the 2 Fitstone Motorsport cars. Yeah, putting Brendan Cronin in a fight.
Oh dear, off, and that was Stadler being tapped round. I say a tap, a shove round, and that's really changed things round. Taj Edwards drops down, and that means that Brendan Cronin moves up into 2nd place. It was a complete misjudgment there by one of the drivers going into Montreal, and that's really been super unlucky for Taj Edwards, I think, to be spun round. There we go. So it was the Gold Sim Race car, of Edwards, who tapped down Stadler. So Stadler really the innocent party in that. And Edwards, big contact. Shame to see that. But that is what we see at Montreal. Surprisingly, we haven't seen that all day up to this point.
Yeah, I think it was just yeah, as you say, Sam, it was just a misjudgment under braking from Taj Edward, and just just carried too much speed in this day. Unfortunately, Harrow Startle was just an innocent victim in the accident. But as look back up at the front, I just noticed it's a Fitzstye Motorsport 1-2 at the moment. So yeah, I'm guessing that the team boss alongside me will be very happy.
Round the home circuits as well, of course, for Fitzstye Motorsport as well. And Bibby currently in the Audi, by the way. He ought not to be in the Audi, the car number 13. Not sure if that's... No, that is his number, so yes. But yeah, he is up one place at least, if that's any consolation. Don't think he'll be scoring any points for this race, though. I don't think we've written into the rules what we do in this situation. But I think maybe no points is a fair penalty, or maybe half points. We don't know. I'll see how generous we all feel after the race. Madsen really close to Cronin. He got past Cronin in race 1 for the race win. We feel as though, despite this currently for being race P2 in this race, he kind of feels like this will inevitably be for the race win. Tor Bourbon still leading the way, of course, 3 seconds ahead as well. Perfect drive from Tor Bourbon up to this pace. But unfortunately for him, this second race is double the length of the first, and so he's got a long way to go if he's going to take his first win in this series. So far, it has just been Cronin and Madsen who have taken all 7 race victories in the championship. Good battle going on right now, but again behind Viv Cardinal, we've got Galite, Nola, Brown, McMahon, Van Loozenord and Bibby as well, and Wood and Uneberg as well. Leggett and Tilgard just having a little bit of an off as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just look at the replay of Martin Thielgaard, and it looks like he tries to take a look up the side, and the Mercedes gets sideways in front of him, and he tries.
Oh, that's sad.
That was a bit of a how can I say, or how can I call that, synchronized running wide.
Yes. I think Tilgard was just desperate not to hit his rival. He was being ultra polite, and I mean, in hindsight, maybe just turning into the corner would have been the wisest thing. Personally, I've been in that situation before where you're doing everything to avoid the car on the inside. He's diving down your inside, and in the end, you kind of regret that decision in the end. Both of them lose a lot of time, but at least they didn't make contact. That is the silver lining to the clouds above this in this Norfolk sky. As Madsen looks to the inside. All round surely is Cronin, and he's given up the race lead. But Cronin does have the inside line for the next corner. Madsen down the inside. Can he pull ahead? Cronin desperately trying not to give it up. But he maybe has lost, this position now. But actually, Madsen really not quite getting the run out of that corner. Super deep on the brakes for Cronin, and now this time Madsen will go down the inside. I think they're still a little bit side by side, but this is certainly Madsen now with the upper hand. Super deep on the brakes though for Cronin. He's round the outside of that corner. He'll have the inside for the next one, and he's not going to give this second place up without a fight. Madsen round the outside. He's a little bit wide, but he is crucially ahead. The car number 20 takes advantage of the mistake from Cronin, and he will be kicking himself with the geodesic racing driver, and now he's got his teammate for company as well. As off the circuit goes is that Ben Galite, I believe, dropping loads of positions. I think he's just got 3 places right there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just looking back at his pack in the GT3 class as well. The 2 Fitzstye Motorsport cars at the moment have currently checked out at the moment and managing to build up a bit of a gap. But looking back at this train of cars, there's God knows how many cars in this pack. But yeah, it's a bit fantastic racing at the moment.
Brown having to hold on against Tom McMahon. Don't count out any of these drivers for potentially the race win, whilst the Fitzstye Motorsport drivers are ahead at the moment. Some of these guys are very quick. Brown almost getting contact. There was contact there. Van Loozenord did well not to go off the circuit, and I think getting ahead. Oh, really good credit actually there to Tom McMahon for letting that place back past Andrew Brown.
Van Loozenord going. I thought Van Loozenord was trying to make a move up the inside, or right, he was, but he couldn't get it done. But yeah, credit to Tom McMahon. He punted Brown by accident and they got by, but he pulled over and gave the position back. So yeah, fair play to fair play to Tom McMahon.
Yes, definitely. Will not be getting a penalty for that, I think. Brown, though, really holding on to that place well. And like I said, any of these drivers could still win. Brown is a very quick driver. He might even have the pace to catch up to the leaders. This is a long race, 40 minutes. Same race as a VRS GT sprint race, of course. So plenty of time for action to happen. You can still see the leading two drivers very much in shots. Jack Nola, who's having a pretty good run at the moment. He's battling with Ray Cunning. Could see a couple of BMWs fighting for the upper echelons of this race. It's for the last step of the podium. As Musselwhite getting past some of the Porsches after having some issues earlier on, Musselwhite. He's making his way back up.
Yep, absolutely. Is back at up at the front in the Porsche Cup class is still a was a bit here some contact.
Oh, Bibby's just gained 2 places there, I think.
Yeah, I was about to say Lewis Bibby's managed to gain a couple of positions, but the Van Loser or the instant straight away Van Loser is a contact or there's a bit of bumping and rubbing between I think it was a Chris Wood or John. I have no idea. It was a Team Mad car and a boosted car anyway. So yeah, it's all all kicking off at the moment, Sam.
Yeah, this is how this contact occurred there. So Van Loosenord super deep on, or super tight on the inside there. Just got past Brown, and Bibby's like, well, I'll have a little bit of that straight down the inside of the pair of them. And Montreal corner has certainly worked out for him very well there. So yeah, so Brown drops a couple of places. Bibby gains a couple of places. McMahon must have got past Brown then when we didn't see, I think. So unfortunate for Brown. Now he's behind Uneberg as well. So a dastardly few laps. And I was saying how maybe he could even win this race, Brown. Dare I say, he's a long way behind that as the Grip TV driver. This is how McMahon got past. So we're putting the pieces of this conundrum together to formulate an answer. And that was a very nice move, actually, from Tom McMahon. And maybe that was why Van Loosenord had such a good run on the Grip TV driver going into Montreal.
Yeah, it looked like Van Loosenord made the move and just got in the grass a little bit and just ran wide. But as we look through the field, Andrew Brown trying to make a move on the Unenberg, and the Unenberg will have the inside into the hairpin. There's a bit of contact, and Unenberg manages to just hold the position.
Of course, back in 2010, the year before these changes were made to the circuit, that Montreal corner wasn't really there. You just had a fast 90-degree corner. And love or hate this changes. Certainly Montreal is quite a controversial corner every time we visit here, particularly when we have reverse grids. We always see big crashes at that Montreal corner. It's ever so difficult as Clay's off the circuit again. I think it's that, no, that's in fact the final corner. It was difficult to tell. He really could be anywhere, and unfortunately that might be it for him. No, to be fair, maybe just showing a slow down. He is back up to racing speed. This is what happened to Clays then. I think he's quite desperate just to score some points. Good credit to him. But I think he has got steering wheel issues, says Steve Clays. Hopefully that'll be the reason for this off. Just, I mean, absolutely no steering there for a moment. Hopefully that won't affect any other drivers. But credit to Clays, he is trying to finish the race at least.
Yeah, fair play to him. He's keeping on going, or he's still going at the moment. So yeah, fair play as Tom McMahon's caught up to the back of Ralph Cullinan, and he's got a run on the exit of the final corner, and he might be able to get Cullinan on the entry to turn 1.
Always very quick is the Mercedes in comparison to the BMW, but it is a long way round the outside at turn 1. Not trying to give this up is Ray Cullinan, a very successful driver on these Sunday evenings in the BSR GT Championship, of course, and he's sticking down the inside into Montreal. Deep braking there from Van Loosenord. It almost makes contact with Bibby just in the background, but credit to Ray Cullinan. I don't know if he's maybe been employed by myself to help out the Tech Centre Pitstone Motorsport drivers, but he's doing a fantastic job of holding back these drivers at the moment as contact. Surely there must have been contact between Nola and Bibby, as back down the inside again comes McMahon. I think this might just be it, with Cullinan trying to go round the outside. Again, sterling effort from Rafe Cullinan, but surely his defence of that third place has come to an end. And yes, it has. Tom McMahon, who, like I said, I don't think has finished off the podium all season long, up into the top 3. Jack Nola, though, off the circuit. He was racing with Bibby and Van Loosenod. Van Loosenod has got past the pair of them, though, in the last couple of moments. So good corner for Van Loosenod, and he will set his sights on Cullinan ahead.
Yep, as I look back in the Porsches as well, it was still in the lead of the Porsches is Tor Bervin, but yeah, quickly catching up to him is Nick Madsen and Brendan Cronin and Austin Harias. As we look at our replay of I think it's a replay of Steve Clay's perhaps more issues with his wheel. Yeah, he runs wide again, and I think he's about to call it a day.
Yes, and fortunately, he won't score points, will Steve Clays. Score points for race 1, of course, but everyone does get a drop round, of course, from the first 5 rounds. So hopefully this is his worst round of the season, and this won't count towards the championship. Taj Edwards round, and he's had a tricky race 2. He was running very well earlier on. I think he had an off on lap 1, and then just went way too deep, crashing into a couple of gyres at Montreal early on in the race as well. And it hasn't really gone his way since then. But remember, Tor Bervin started on pole position. He got a lightning start, just pulled away from the rest of the field whilst everyone else was fighting. Built up pretty much a 4-second lead at one point. That's how big it was. It's down to 0.6 of a second though. Quite inevitable that Madsen and Cronin were going to catch up to him eventually. So far this season, I'd say we're seeing Bervin very polite to other drivers. I don't think we've seen him quite in this situation before though. Wonder how much of a fight he will offer against the cavalry chasing behind.
Yeah, Bervin, he's a pretty decent driver as well. I don't think he's been up at the front that much in the Porsches, but yeah, he's a decent driver. He can get points and finish races. As we look at Martin Van Loosenord, Cullinan, and Lewis Bibby, and it looks like Van Loosenord got by Cullinan not too long ago. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see as well if Tom McMahon can catch up to the two Fitzstyle Motorsport cars up at the front with I think we're about just over 15 minutes in this race. So yeah, still got a little bit of time left. So it's not out of reach for Tom McMahon.
We could have a change for the lead any moment now with Madsen chasing down Bervin. This is perhaps Cronin's best opportunity to get back past Madsen. Remember, Madsen's overtaken Cronin twice so far today, much to the annoyance of the geodetic racing driver undoubtedly. Here comes Madsen though, down the back straight. How much of a defence is Bervin putting up? Seemingly not much. He's just definitely going right to the right side of the circuit, giving up that inside line. Madsen goes down the inside, and Bervin, you know what, isn't even fighting it. So perhaps the wise thing to do, because he's got a chance at a podium, as Cronin tries to go round, doesn't receive the same treatment though from Bervin. To be fair, that's a difficult position for Tor to be in. But that is anything but what Brendan Cronin would have been hoping when they were coming across the Team Vikings car, because rather than gaining some time on the Fitzstyle Motorsport driver, he's lost some time instead. And of course, as one of the team managers of Fitzstyle Motorsport, it's quite nice. Got 1-2 in the GT3s and first place in the Porsches as well, all in the same race.
Yeah, absolutely. Bervin's under attack from Cronin at the moment, and also behind Cronin is Hervius as well. So yeah, I think if Bervin let Cronin and Hervius go, I think he would be able to hold on for a P4 finish. But because I think Harrow Stadler's a little bit behind, so yeah, I think P4 would probably be a good result for Bervin.
Yeah, would be one of his best races of the season. Not sure if he's got a podium. May have had one podium, Tor Bervin. I think he's certainly had a 4th place so far this season. Of course, also very important for these drivers, keeping the incident points down, as off the circuit, that is the Audi of Lewis Bibby. And Bibby's had a wretched 5 laps or so. He was as high as 5th place, and this is what happened to him. He got ahead of Cullinan, crucially, unfortunately, he's going to have to overtake a lot of those drivers, and it's a slightly unusual mistake. Of course, remember, he doesn't usually drive the Audi. This is a mistake from him to drive the Audi, and so he's kind of had a half spin that won't have a good setup on that car, certainly not a setup suited for this circuit. And that might well explain why he had that small accident. Unfortunately, now he's lost those places to Cullinan, Unenberg, and Brown, even though he's already passed them earlier on in the race.
Yep, there's a we're right on board with a Unenberg at the moment. Currently in P6 and just behind Cullinan, and yeah, Unenberg having a good race at the moment, and yeah, I think it's round about where he started for the reverse grid. So yeah, he's having a good run at the moment.
Yes, right on the tail of Raikkonen. Started in 8th place in Unenberg. Actually, it's been one of his stronger rounds of the season. I think if he can get a top 5 out of this, as it's looking like quite possible at the moment, I think that would be his highest points tally of the season. Currently residing in, not sure where he is actually in the championship. Maybe about 9th or 10th. A little bit lower than that, actually. So, yeah, it would be a really good day for him if he could score some strong points in this. In his BMW, but he's got to be very aware of the two drivers behind Andrew Brown and Lewis Bibby, who might well be a little bit faster. By the way, out in well, actually, I think we might see a change of position here. The two BMWs going side by side. Cullinan trying to force him out. Brown catching up to these guys very rapidly now that he's got the slipstream. Pulling ahead is Unberg. Around the outside of Raikkonen, we've seen a lot of moves so far in this race, either inside or outside in the first half of the lap. And now, all of a sudden, from attack to defense potentially, because here comes Brown.
Brown up the
Down
inside.
the inside, and also Bibby. He saw half an opportunity. He wasn't going to turn that one down. And disappointment for Unenberg there, because it looked like he might gain 1 place, instead he's lost 2.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, looking back at the Porsche Cup cars as well, and Madsen's still under attack from Cronin, and yeah, even though Bervin's lost a couple of positions, he's still in P3, and yeah, him with a good chance of a podium. I'm not sure if anything happened to Hervius, or if Hervius it's not had a chance to try and get by Bervin yet, but. Yeah, good. You have to say overall, it's been a good run in both classes so far this evening for the Team Viking team. So, yeah, it's the Team Viking team I recognise from the DJFX Endurance Series and the Club Sport Series. So, yeah, they're a decent team with decent drivers.
Definitely, I certainly recognise them as well from that. I think they won a few rounds of the club sport series. They didn't win? No, I think it was Huge Ass who won the championship. Sorry, I'm just thinking back to my days of doing season 1. By the way, check out the club sport series, because it is a really nice series actually, and actually runs this car, I believe, and the TCR car as well in the upcoming championship. So. You know, search DGFX in a search engine, and one of the tabs, I think, at the top of that is for the Club Sport Series. Also not really been promoting series that we don't even broadcast, as Madsen's off the circuit, and Brendan Cronin takes the lead of the Porsche category. It was a mistake from Cronin that resulted in Madsen winning race 1, and after taking the lead early on for Madsen, he's made a mistake and has offered that lead back, and that's a mistake we haven't seen for the most part of this season, Ryan. Usually, when Madsen gets the lead, he doesn't give it up. But right there, that was a big misjudgment.
Yeah, I think yeah, Madsen just looked like he outbraked himself and just ran a little bit wide, and yeah, it gave Brendan Cronin a chance to slip up inside and take the lead. As yeah, there's looking back up at the GT3s as well, it's still a battle going on between Bibby, Cullinan, and Unenberg. So yeah, good battle between these three as we get into the closing stages of this race, and it looks like yeah, Jesper Lind is under attack from Tom McMahon for P2.
This is important for Lin to hang on to this one. He probably wants to fend off
Ooh.
his teammate as Sam Kumo takes a bit of a impact. Oh, round! That's a big old spin, isn't it? From Ronald Moons, I believe. It was. Moons, he was delayed at his start, and that was a lot of tyre smoke produced there. Tom McMahon, though, again, clearly I've paid Sam Kume to help out the Fitstone Motorsport drivers, because he got right in a wedge there and held up Tom McMahon. And it's really set back McMahon a little bit. Also, Van Loosenord relatively close to his tail now. So this is just developing superbly. Remember, these drivers only 3 seconds off the lead. And I think any one of the top 4 currently have a chance at winning this race. Got a bit of a gap back to Andrew Brown after that 6 seconds, but you can probably see the top 4 all in the same straight.
Yeah, absolutely. Is a absolutely. Excuse me. Absolutely. Is a yeah. We look at this battle for a second place between London, just London, Tom McMahon, and yeah, Martin Van Loosenord not too far behind, and just up the road from these guys is Ben Gregory. So I think we could be on for a 4-way fight for the win and as we come into the closing stages of this race. And yeah, I have to say it's been a good race so far, Sam. And yeah, it's been, even though it's been not a low turnout, but kind of not as high as expected. But possibly due to the Sim Racing Expo taking place in Germany this weekend, it's still been good racing in both classes.
Absolutely, and of course, if you want to get involved in the series, like Ryan was saying, a little bit lower today, but we usually get 40 odd drivers, a few more GT3s. Credit to the Porsche drivers sticking with it. So we've had a lot of Porsche drivers turn up today, which is good to see. But check out how can you check it out? Contact Apex Racing TV maybe on Facebook. There's a post that we posted a while back. You can check out sign up details for that. I don't know, maybe if Marco can like put in the entry form, maybe on the chat. I don't know if that's a possibility. But basically, tries to get involved in the series. Contact us, perhaps. Madsen with a little bit of a slide there. As once again, side by side, between second and third, Lind defending from McMahon, Van Loosenord right on the tail as well in the Ferrari. And Lind has the better line, trying to cut back now into Montreal corner is the Evo SR driver. Instead, he's actually just trying to defend from Martin Van Loosenord from behind. 3.5 seconds now. The gap between first and second. Ben Gregory hasn't finished on the podium so far this season. It's looking more and more possible that he could perhaps take his first race victory in this series, but a lot of it depends on what his teammate does. Jesper Lind again defending. And Van Loosenord down the inside. Can he get past McMahon this time? Yes, he can. He couldn't get past him for the win in race 1, but that could be a race-deciding move in race 2. Well, you know what? I was counting him off too early, because actually, Tom McMahon still has a portion of his car alongside. Van Loosenord trying to keep it around the outside. Brilliant driving from these two. He has to back out of it, does the Ferrari driver. Brilliant duel. But whilst all this is going on, it's just helping Ben Gregory and Jesper Lind out in the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, yeah, Ben Gregory still got a gap behind him to these 3 guys behind. So yeah, I think if these guys keep holding each other up, it might give Ben Gregory a chance to try and build that gap even further. So yeah, but yeah, this battle for P2, P3, and P4 is been fantastic at the moment, and yeah, I think it's only a matter of time though before Tom and Martin Van Loosenord can try. Will probably get by Jesper Lind.
Lind is just positioning his car perfectly though every time on the inside of the circuit, and he's got enough confidence to carry the speed through to put up a good defence. Van Loosenord always trying to make it that 3 wide, slightly backing out of it. McMahon with a good run round the outside of turn 1. Can he cut across his opponent though, going into Montreal? Lind will be deep on the brakes. Is there going to be contact? Super deep though for the Evo SR driver, as Lind has to move out to the side there, almost forcing off Jesper Lind. And apologies, trying to force off Tom McMahon. McMahon was mega deep, and I think for a moment at least, Lind did have his entire car in front, but McMahon had a terrific run out of the corner, and pretty much had to run to the grass to avoid the Pitstone Motorsport driver. He is still hounding every which way. Currently, these guys are losing a second a lap to the race leader just with this fighting. It's up to 5 seconds nearly, as down the inside goes Martin Van Loosenord. That would have been ambitious. He's looking for every which way to get past, because he can see a potential race victory coming up for Martin Van Loosenord. He just cannot get past Tom McMahon at the moment.
Yeah, I was just about to say as well. This is Ben Gregory must be looking at his relative and checking the gap and laughing his head off as McMahon goes up inside.
He's deep into the corner, but I think he's got it done this time. Brilliant dummy there from Tom McMahon, and he is up into second place. Here comes Van Loosenaar. He's going to try to go straight through again, but couldn't make it. All of a sudden, Lind is kind of fighting for himself now because he has let one of these drivers pass. McMahon up 11 places from his start. Could he get his 5th race victory in a row in this series? What can Martin Van Loosenaar do? He's coming out of the final corner now as they are about to start lap 17 of this race. It was the dummy that worked well for Lind on the last lap. Martin Van Loosenaar going to try the same thing. He goes to the inside into turn 1. And that is very nicely done. Can Lind fight back at all? Van Loosenaar will cover the inside line into Montreal. He has it covered, and he is up into the podium places. And now it's going to be fascinating, this battle between the top 3 drivers as McMahon and Van Loosenaar hunt down Ben Gregory in the lead.
Yeah, that was a brilliant dummy. That was a brilliant dummy by Van Loosenaar heading down into turn 1. He managed to get the move done and managed to get by Jesper Lund into turn 1. As we look at the replay of the move, and yeah, it looked like Van Loosenaar got a brilliant exit on the final corner, and went up the inside and ran wide a little bit, but he managed to get the move done and up into P3 for Martin Van Loosenaar, and I wonder if he'll be able to try and catch Tom McMahon in second.
Yeah, he's not too far behind McMahon, but at the same time, they kind of want to catch up to Ben Gregory out in the lead. So a difficult situation for Van Loosenaar. Does he try to pass McMahon straight away, or does he try to work with McMahon to catch up to Gregory? Still in the lead of the Porsches is Brendan Cronin. These two just pulling away. That last lap, Madsen was like quarter of a second faster. It seems like whoever's second place out of these two drivers seems to be a little bit faster. I don't know, maybe if you're second place, you can afford to take a bit more risk than the driver in front. Maybe they're braking, and just gives you a little bit of a helping reference. But they just ugly to one another, as we have seen these two for the entire season. And this would be an important race victory for Brendan Cronin to cut that lead in the championship. Still, Tor Bourbon, who's starting on pole position, led most of this race. He's doing brilliantly in 3rd place as he runs a little bit wide. That'll be a 1x, not the end of the world. Austin Herveus, though, struggling for pace. We saw him at the start of race 1, really strong. Start of this race, really strong. And if he's maybe struggling with tyres, but in both of them, he seems to have dropped off a little bit as the event has gone on. He's 12.5 seconds off the lead currently, but still would be good points. Stadler, Moons, and Kumo, the other runners. Edwards, 3 laps down. Still running, actually, is Taj Edwards, to be fair. Steve Clays, though, with his steering wheel issues, is out of the race. Still, this one going on. Bibby, sorry, not Bibby, Cullinan, Thunberg, and also Nola involved as well. This was a 6-car chain, I think, and maybe even 10 cars, to be fair. It's just down to the 3 of them now, as Cullinan off the circuit.
And that allows Unenberg up into P7 and Nola up into P8.
Was there any contact there, Ryan? I didn't see any myself.
I don't think so. Just looking at the replay to see what happened to Cullen, and it looks like he might have just clipped the outside, the grass on the outside with his rear wheels, and yeah, he just slightly clipped the grass, and unsettled him, and yeah, just ran wide onto the grass, and it allowed Ehrenberg and Nola up into P7 and P8. As we look back up at the front of the field as well in the Porsches, and it's still Brendan Cronin leading, but he's still under attack from Nick Madsen, and these two guys have managed to pull away from Tor Bervin behind them. So yeah, it's the battle for the win is between these two guys. These two guys as we head into the final few minutes of the race.
Yeah, and also it's really hotting up for the lead of the GT3 cars as well. We'll certainly keep one eye on this. But Ben Gregory on that last lap lost 0.8 of a second to Tom McMahon out in the lead of the GT3 pack. There's now a 3.5 second gap between the two of them. Martin Van Loosenaar, underwhelming lap time. Oh, well, sorry, actually, really good lap time on the last lap, but seems to have lost a little bit of time on this lap. So he's a little bit detached now in 3rd place, maybe picking up a slowdown even. So that's the top 3 in the GT3 class. as Madsen gets quite close. This is down to 0.2 of a second. This is as close as Madsen's been for a long time since being overtaken a while ago. Wide straight this as Madsen goes round the outside. This is going to be a good move if he can pull it off, but the circuit narrows a lot. Cronin a little bit deep on the brakes, gets it round the corner, keeps it on the circuit. And this is going to be a tricky final 10 minutes for him. He relieved the race lead of race 1. About 5 minutes from the end, he needs to make sure that he doesn't do the same in race 2.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it looks like Madsen gets sideways on the exit of the final couple of corners. He gets a bit sideways on the gravel, but manages to hold it, and it's gave Cronin a bit of breathing space as we look towards the front, and it looks like McMahon and Van Loozenord are slowly starting to close in on Ben Gregory.
Yes, it was 0.8 on the last lap. Let's see where it is on this lap. Gregory crosses the line. He does a 47.28. McMahon 46.37. Don't need to be a genius at maths. Even my C at A-level maths can work out that that was about 0.9 of a second faster for Tom McMahon on that last lap. Van Loozenord, despite I think making a mistake in the first half of the lap, actually recovered well in the second half of the lap. So he did maintain the gap at least to McMahon and close in significantly on Gregory. The duo that they're coming up on at the moment is Austin Havias. Like I said earlier on, they should lap these Porsches once across the race. Ben Gregory making himself very clear. Usually he's racing a mixture of GT and prototype cars, says Ben Gregory, but mainly prototype, and so maybe that will help him lapping the cars, although it's safe to say quite a difference between the Audi R18 LMP1 car and this GT3 Mercedes AMG car. But Gregory does get past, doesn't lose too much time. Gap down to 1 second though. We haven't got much time remaining. McMahon is going to catch. Question is, can he overtake?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we just got under. Yeah, I think we've got about 5 minutes remaining in this race. So, 5 minutes remaining for McMahon and Van Loozenord to try and close the gap to Gregory and try and make a move as we look back at the Porsche Cup cars and Tor Beveren still having a good race in P3. So, all he has to do is just basically get it to the finish and just he'll be on the podium as you runs a little bit wide due to being lapped by Gregory and McMahon, and McMahon's got the run on Gregory.
Here we go then, this for the race win, the race lead at least. Gregory on the inside. McMahon, I think, will move into the lead. Question is, can he hang on to it round the outside? Gregory down the inside, the car number 67, 26 on the outside. Gregory runs a little bit wide, forcing McMahon off. Will McMahon go for a bold move into Montreal? No. So, that's the first wave of attack gone. He's got another 4 minutes or so to survive as Andrew Brown has had enough. He was running, as he nearly hits another driver there. That was early Christian Unberg who he was fighting. So this was him fighting Jesper Lind. Goes round the outside, is there going to be contact? Yes.
Yep.
Just a little bit on the curve there was Lind, and you know what, Lind's got big damage. Fortunately for him at least, gets back going. That was the battle for fourth place. In this race, so pretty much best of the rest with this lead battle going on. Gregory restoring that lead back up to half a second. Van Loozenord only 1 further second behind these drivers. It should be a three-way battle for this win eventually. Gregory has got a few more laps, 3 minutes to go, so he'll have the next. In fact, he's only got 2 more laps to go, which will be welcoming for him. So Ben Gregory 2 laps away from his first win in this championship.
Yep, absolutely. 2 more laps, and I think this battle for the win's going to be absolutely fantastic to watch. And I have to say, it looks like basically as soon as McMahon and Van Loozenord got to the front, they didn't waste any time in closing the gap down to Gregory. And if I was Gregory, I'd be trying to defend as much as possible, without blocking, of course, but basically just try and defend the position as much as possible. I know that's what I would do anyway if I was him, have a chance of a win.
Definitely, he's going to try everything he possibly can. 0.4 of a second, the gap is significantly larger than it was on the last lap. Gregory runs a little bit wide, but that's not the end of the world. You can see, though, McMahon with a much better line takes 0.2 of a second out of the race leader. around this part of the circuit, it is very difficult. It's probably going to be down the back straight. His best chance, McMahon, who can't get the power down. Just had a big enough gap against Van Loosenod though, but it is now half a second between first and second, half a second between second and third, and as Van Loosenod goes deep on the brakes. Remember, Van Loosenod nearly made this move on McMahon into Agostini a few laps ago. If he made that move, maybe the complexion of this race would be quite contrary to what it stands now. But instead, it is McMahon who's got the first effort, at least, at the race leader, Ben Gregory, who is driving without fault at the moment. He hasn't got a scratch on that car. He's been leading this entire race from pole position. The first 38 minutes of this race has gone superbly well. It's just Belinda, I think, has just had an off in the background. So not all good for Texan Spitstone Motorsport. We've got 1 more minute to go, and that means that this will, the next lap at least, sorry, will be the last lap of the race. Last lap for Ben Gregory to hang on. Can Tom McMahon make a move? He's not got particularly close at the moment, Ryan. He can get within half a second, can't seem to get much closer than that.
Yeah, it just seems to be. Yeah, it just seems to be that. Ben Gregory seems to get that better exit on the exit of the fight. The better exit on the exit of the final corner, and just manages to stretch the gap a little bit as looking at the helicopter, or basically helicopter view or chase cam. I can't remember what it's called, but looking at from this angle, it looks like he's managing to just maintain that gap and just build it up a little bit. As Van Loosenord's starting to get a bit racy with McMahon, so this might help Gregory.
They're running out of time, a second and third to battle the leader, so they're just going to fight one another, it seems. Still really close, actually, between first and second, because a little bit of a poor exit there for Ben Gregory. Half a second between the top two, but you can see how Van Loosenod desperately trying to get past. It's been a frustrating season for Martin Van Loosenod. Maybe if he could take this second place from Tom McMahon, it would be slightly sweeter for him. As McMahon is getting closer to Gregory on the last lap. The gap at this point was about half a second. This time he's got a really good run as the Mercedes driver. Which way does Gregory defend? McMahon went for the dummy on Gregory's teammate. He's going to do the dummy once again down the inside with just a few corners to go. Gregory is a little bit wide. What can Van Loosenod do in the background? He can't do anything. McMahon can't do anything. Gregory is doing enough as through bomb hole for the last time in this race. They've just got Murray's to go. 2 more corners for Ben Gregory to hang on to this race lead. Does he feel like he has to go defensive? Or is it about the run to the line? McMahon chasing him, trying to get the cutback. It's a decent exit for Gregory, but McMahon has got a good exit. There's a long run to the line here. McMahon pulls alongside, but I think for Texan Spitstone Motorsport, it is going to be Ben Gregory who wins race 2 at Snetterton. That is a fantastic defensive job from him. He hung on for the 40 minutes from pole position. Well done to him. Andrew Brown, not quite having the straight line speed in the end to overtake Jack Nola, who finishes in 6th place. Nice result for Nola. Of course, we've still got the Porsche race. These two were the only 2 Porsches who weren't lapped. So the worst they can finish is 2nd place. Let's see these guys across the line. We've got a while to go. We've got 2/3 of the lap still to complete for these drivers. Cronin, 0.8 of a second ahead of Madsen. And I mean, Ryan, these two have been so evenly matched today. I think it'd only be fair if they took 1 race win each.
Yeah, absolutely. I think also it will make the championship more exciting to watch as well. I'm not saying it's not exciting to watch at the moment, but it's it just it spices it up. So I think it'll be good to see these guys take 1 win apiece tonight, and Madsen taking 1 and Cronin taking the race, winning the 2nd race. So yeah, I think Cronin's just done enough to hold on for the 1. He's got a bit of a gap between himself and Madsen. So yeah, I think it's just keep on track the fight for the final few corners, and hopefully I don't curse him, but he should have this 1 in the bag.
It would be quite a commentator's curse, I must say, around this final part of the lap. But you know what, I think you're right, Ryan, because he's got 0.9 of a second ahead of Nick Madsen, does Brendan Cronin. As to the line he comes on lap 23. Couldn't win race 1, Brendan Cronin. but he can win race 2. He restores that championship difference between him and Nick Madsen. Nice win there for the geodesic racing driver. Congratulations to Cronin. Oh, fantastic race 2 that was. And Gregory hung on to it. It didn't look like he was going to be able to. 5 minutes from the end. Hopefully we'll have a chat with him later on as well. I think we did a couple of weeks ago. It was close though. Half a tenth of a second between Gregory and McMahon. I think that must be the closest across the line we've seen all season for a race win, at least. Martin van Leeuwenhoek finishes in 3rd place with Lewis Bibby in 4th. There's Ole Christian Unberg, Jack Nola, Andrew Brown, Jesper Lind, Rafe Cullinan, Gregory Ranks, John Roberts, Scott Malcolm, and Martin Thielgaard. The retirees were James Leggett, Chris Wood, Stuart Musselwhite, and Ben Galite. I'm not sure if I'm going to put James on the score sheet because I don't think he scored any points today, but I might be generous. Brendan Cronin wins out in the Porsche category, beats old foe Nick Madsen by 1 second. Those two were the only two drivers who weren't lapped by the GT3 cars. Tor Bourbon finishing in 3rd place. Really good result for Bourbon. Didn't talk about him too much, but led half the race as well. So nice podium for him. Austin Hervias finished in 4th place with Hal Stadler in 5th. There's Ronald Means, Sam Kumo, and Taj Edwards and Steve Clays were the 2 retirees in that race. Clays with a wheel issue, and I think Edwards as well had similar issues as well. So that is the results. Now time for the interviews. No one's come for an interview. So, oh no, as if I called upon him. Tom McMahon, we are going to have a chat with. And Tom, congratulations out there. I mean, it was nearly 5 race wins in a row in this championship, but in the end, a 1st place in race 1, a 2nd place in race 2. You can't be too disappointed with that.
No, not at all. I really wanted to win that 2nd one, but with a potential championship on the kind of line, I didn't want to do anything too silly. I had one really good chance, but Ben defended really well. But I got 0x on the 1st race, so I was happy with that to get an extra 3. So all in all, a very productive round.
Definitely. In that 1st race, you were fighting with Martin van Leeuwenhoek. In fact, in the 2nd race as well, on the most part, you were fighting with Martin van Leeuwenhoek. But you never seemed to buckle under pressure. I don't think he ever overtook you, despite being arguably a little bit faster. It was difficult to tell, and he was chasing you for about half an hour overall across the 2 races. Did you feel much pressure because it didn't seem to affect you whatsoever?
You always do. Like, you always start sweating a little bit more and your heart rate starts coming up, but you just focus on the mark, and just try not to make any mistakes. And lucky I did that. I was really, really happy with how I drove in race 1. And he nearly had me in race 2, but we had a really good battle going side by side, and I managed to hold on. But yeah, you always feel a little bit of pressure, especially someone like Martin, who is super quick. I felt I did have like the pace on him in race 2. Race 1, I think we were so evenly matched. I'd like to think if it was the other way around, I would have hounded him. But yeah, it was good. It was good fun.
Definitely, and it looked fun in terms of the overtaking out there as well. You got quite creative with some of your moves. We saw the dummy into at the end of the back straight. That seemed to be really effective for you, and it nearly worked on Gregory as well. What was your mindset in terms of those overtakes? Because it looked really difficult, so you had to think of some ingenious ways to get past your opponents.
That was exactly it. Quite early on, we realised that we were just sat in a train, and it was so hard because of the nature of the track, because it's so stop and go. The person in front's always getting on the power that a little bit earlier than you. So yeah, there was round the outside of turn 1 was quite a nice one, but you put quite a lot of faith in the person next to you not to just run you out of road. And then yeah, I got the dummy on. I think it was Jesper, who was making it really hard. That was good fun. And then I went for it with Ben, but I wasn't quite as far alongside. And as I said, I didn't want to hit him or ruin anyone's race because of championship and just it's not the done thing. But yeah, no, it was good fun and yeah, getting a little bit creative.
Absolutely, and of course, if you had made contact with him, I would have given a hefty penalty. I've already given you 100 points of penalties just to slow you down in the championship, but nothing seems to do. Tom, congratulations with your results today in the championship as well. Is there anyone you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Just the Evo SR guys again. We have some good practice during the week, and you guys for streaming it and organising such a well-run event. It's really good fun. Really enjoying it. Yeah, roll on Spa, I believe.
Absolutely. See you then, Tom.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
So that was Tom McMahon, of course. Also, I said, give a shout out to anyone. I suddenly realised we don't really talk about St. Mortal enough, but shouts out to them, of course, and Michael Blake as well. But St. Mortal, check out their products. Do fantastic kind of 1 to 18 to 1 to 32 scale models of all your favourite sim racing cars. And you get your own livery on them from iRacing, and it's absolutely superb quality. And very much thanks to Smarts for giving away £200 worth of vouchers to the 2 class winners of this championship. So just a shout out to them, of course. A couple more interviews we're going to have with drivers. Next up, I think we'll have a chat with Brendan Cronin, the Porsche Race 2 winner. Congratulations, Brendan, on that Race 2, but that was some battling with Nick Madsen. You fought with him for the entire evening, it seemed.
Yeah, I'm tired. Like
Yes.
I'm just exhausted. Like that was not an easy race. I was just talking to him for a minute in voice, and yeah, I mean it doesn't get any closer than that. I mean, once each race settled down, we were both within a second of each other like the entire time.
It seemed as though whoever was second out of you guys seemed to be a little bit faster, because in that race 2 in particular, Nick pulled maybe about a second ahead of you when you got held up against Tor Bourbon, but you straight away caught back up to him. Would you say it was an advantage being second place in terms of pace, because neither of you could pull away from one another?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a draft effect. Like I was holding him like 1 second behind me, and then if I made like a 2 or 3 tenth mistake, like now he's going to catch up another half second on draft. So there's definitely an advantage to being behind. But the strange thing about this track is I was getting an advantage seemingly under braking while behind him, like which doesn't make any sense. It should be the opposite.
Yeah, definitely. But well, it made it even more entertaining for us, no doubts. And in the championship as well, it's looking really close between you two. I think there's something like 20 points between the pair of you. Were you thinking about the incidents at all out there, the incident points? Because of course, pick up a few of them, you get some penalty points, and that could be decisive in the standings come the end of the championship.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. And incidents like this rate, I had my brake bias like 2% further back than it should have been. So I don't know if you saw me drifting around. That was fun, but not fast. So once I fixed that, it was easier to keep it on track. Last round a week ago, yeah, I think once the incidents were factored in, because Nick won one and I won one, I think I got 1 point on him. And this race, I need to look, but it might be the same. I only got 2x this race. I'm not sure about last race, but it was only a few, if that. So yeah, it's gonna be close. It's gonna be close. Once you consider the drop round, like we're literally tied.
Yeah, it should be mega close between you two. Certainly looking forward to seeing the rest of it. Brendan, is there anyone you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Thanks to you guys for broadcasting it. We always love the broadcast, and thanks to the team, of course. Sponsors, Alpine Stars, GoPro, Turner Racing, and yeah, we'll see you next round. That'll be exciting. I've had to learn each of these tracks so far an hour before the race, so at least I know the next two.
Yes, good luck for those 2 races, Brendan.
Thanks, guys.
So, a couple more interviews with drivers. Next up, we'll have a chat with Race 2 winner, Ben Gregory. And Ben, congratulations. I mean, I was cheering for you for the entirety of Race 2.
You
But
own the
that
team, of course. Of course you own
exactly a bit of bias. We got to the bottom of that during the broadcast. But I mean, that was some defense at the end of Race 2. I mean, with 5 minutes to go, how confident were you that you could keep Tom behind? Because you
Not at
defended
all.
superbly.
Not at all. It's all the time in the touring cars, I think, helped out. But yeah, I am absolutely beat. That was a hell of a race. That was.
And it was probably the start as well, which was mega important for you because you managed to pull out. I think it was up to 5 seconds that lead. I guess you were pushing from start to finish just to make the lead as big as possible at the start.
I knew Jesper was behind and he was fighting with a couple of drivers. So I thought, okay, I can probably actually tone it down. But as soon as he was passed by the fast guys, I was like, oh, this. I shouldn't have been toning it down. I should have been really pushing it because I probably gave them a couple of seconds, honestly. But close enough, at least. At least they got there in the end. Team's home victory. So that's the main. That was the main thing. We were only hoping to do, relatively okay points today, but the fact we got a win out of it was pretty perfect.
Absolutely, it was a fantastic race tour. Next up, we head to Spa. Do you reckon you're going to score more big points there? Do you have a good setup for that round?
I actually do. It's a 24-hour Spa setup, so it should be pretty on the money. I'm actually mostly looking forward to Donington because it's technically my personal home track because it's just down the road. So hopefully the next 2 rounds I can do some good points and claw my way back up in the championship because 7th isn't good enough for me. I want better.
Well, certainly top 3 is looking very possible at the moment, Ben, and we wish you the best of luck. Is there anyone you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, you all the team, Jesper as well for helping out massively. Harold and Nick for running so well in the Porsches. I'm really proud of how everyone's doing. Cannot wait to bring more for this team.
Absolutely. Thanks for having a chat with us, Ben, and good luck for next week.
Cheers.
So that was Texans Fitstone Motorsports Ben Gregory, who won race 2 in the GT3 category. Next up, we're going to have a chat with Andrew Brown, who finished 3rd place in race 1 and also 7th place in race 2 as well. So, Andrew, particularly that first race, really good. I mean, you were Mr. Consistent. A lot was going on around you, but you just kept your eye on the goal and some really good points earned in that first race.
Yeah, I'd say my first race was pretty calm. Field separated a little bit, so it was just an easy drive to the finish line.
Definitely, and then in that second race, got a bit more interesting. You seem to be battling with, I think was it Jack Nolan and Unberg and a couple of others as well, Cullinan, I think, in there for pretty much the entire race. It was non-stop action between you guys.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. Got a bit battered up a little bit, but yeah, it was good fun. I wish I didn't shred the front tires away, but yeah, I think I could have done a little better if I didn't shred them away.
Yes, and in the championship, you came into this round in 2nd place. As far as I can work out, you'll still be in 2nd place in the championship. Are you still setting your sights on maybe Tom out in the lead? Because a couple of bad rounds for him, and you could certainly still win this championship potentially.
Well, I've seen Tom's pace, and I know I can't match his pace. Seem to match his pace for a bit, but when the tires go, he seems to maintain them a lot better than I can. So, really, my hope is to hold on to 2nd place.
Well, that would still be a terrific effort, Andrew, and we wish you the best of luck for that. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
I'd like to say thank you to Stephen, because he's taught me a lot about racecraft and about racing lines and stuff and stuff like that.
Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Andrew, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, thank you.
So that was Andrew Brown, of course, 2nd place in the championship is Andrew, just grinding out those good results and got another podium as well. So next week, Ryan, I mean, in the British GT Championship, we head to Belgium. I don't. Well, I kind of understand why that's the case. Why we go there in real life. This calendar, by the way, accurately reflects the real life championship. We haven't messed up or anything. But I mean, you can't turn down visiting Spa. It should be an awesome race in these GT3 and Porsche cars. It's everyone's favorite circuit, seemingly, and will just be another terrific round of the championship as we draw closer to the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Spa's a fantastic track when it comes to GT racing, and as you say, the British GT Championship visits there as a way of for some teams to prepare and practice for, or use the race at Spa and the British GT Championship as a bit of a practice race for the Spa 24 Hours. So yeah, Spa's a great track for the GT3 cars, and I think it should be close in both classes. So I'm quite looking forward to it. So it should be interesting to see what. Yes, should be interested to see how it goes in both classes.
Definitely will be a fantastic round. Of course, do check out that race next week on Sunday, same time, of course, and that'll be the penultimate round of the championship. After that will be Donington, as Ben Gregory was mentioning earlier on. And yeah, that will be when the championships are decided. 6 rounds this championship, of course, and I mean, I think there's some pros, but at the same time, we'd like it to go on for a little bit longer as well. Of course, if you want to get involved for next week, I mean, it's week 13. What else are you going to be doing apart from racing the TCR car around Barcelona, of course? I mean, yeah, what else are you going to be doing? So certainly do sign up. I believe Marco posted a sign up link in the chat earlier on. So put your name down for that. We'll get in contact with you. Or, of course, if you or you can contact us directly via Apex Racing TV Facebook, or you can comment on this video if you want to get in contact with us if you have any questions on the series. But certainly do check out the championship, and of course do like the video, subscribe to Apex Racing TV. Got a bit of action next week, not as much as usual. No BSR leagues, no World GT. We've got what are we showing next week? Vikmatek? Maybe?
We've got the V8 Euro V8 supercars.
Eurobeat Super. I am commentating that. I ought to know that was a thing. That will be next Saturday for the Eurobeat Supercar series. Sim Racers World, of course, will be on the iRacing Esports Network next week as well. So subscribe to the iRacing Esports Network as well, because we broadcast a lot on that. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this broadcast. We certainly did. Hopefully we'll see you back as well for future broadcasts as well. But for now, from me, from Ryan, and from Marco as well, we're going to say goodbye, and we'll see you next time.